Here's another audio download from the Richard and Judy Book Club.
John Green's fourth novel has grabbed our attention this time.
It's a fascinating take on dealing with cancer.
Through the eyes of a 16-year-old.
Whenever you read a cancer booklet or website or whatever, they always list depression among the side effects of cancer. But in fact, depression is not a side effect of cancer. Depression is a side effect of dying.
Check out the latest 2013 book reads in store and get them for half price with our special code. Just quote 35 10 10 55. That's 35 10 10 55 at the tills. The code's also on your screen now. This offer entitles you to purchase one of the Richard and Judy Book Club titles for half the RRP. Subject to availability, cannot be used in conjunction with any other promotional voucher. No cash alternative. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green.
It's a really interesting book, and rightly it's become a bestseller and it's become very acclaimed because he pulls off a very difficult trick. He pulls off a story about teenagers having cancer, terminal cancer no less, and manages to make it, yes, tragic, as indeed it is, but also because of the character of the girl and her boyfriend Gus, he manages to make it funny, deep, hilarious in parts actually, and incredibly cleverly written. It's a real tour de force. If you think, when you start it, you think, oh, maybe it's going to be too sentimental to get through this, but he avoids sentiment completely and it really works.
No, it's not sentimental at all. It's actually very accurately drawn. I mean, you and I have spent time as patrons of hospices in this country, and when you first go to a hospice where fundamentally people are going to die, although not always, they sometimes come home, you expect to be deeply depressed. You expect you to put on a sort of a brave face and go home and cry. And it's not like that at all. Yeah. Hospices, whether it's the help groups of the kind that these two are in, hospices are actually incredibly happy places, and that's a statement of fact. The last one I went to, it felt like I was going to an all-day party, you know, and I really mean that. So I think he's absolutely right to talk that up, to talk up the fact that just because somebody has got terminal cancer and is with someone else who's very ill with cancer and all of that's going on, it doesn't mean that life suddenly stops being funny or exciting or romantic. Why should it?
Having said that, it is incredibly difficult for them. If you're 16 years old and you're facing your own mortality every day, I mean, that's an incredibly difficult way to live. But
wouldn't you agree, though, that if anybody is picking up this book in the shop and thinking, do I really want to read about two kids, one who's definitely dying with cancer, the other who's got deep trouble, it's going to depress me, it's going to be sentimental, as you said, we can assure them it's not. It's a great read, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's a terrific book. It's a really clever book.
Hello, I'm John Green, and I'm the author of the novel The Fault in Our Stars. I write because I am quite an introverted person, but I like to tell people stories, and this seems like the best way. The idea for The Fault in Our Stars first emerged in 2000 when I was working as a chaplain at a children's hospital. I really wanted to write about the kids I was meeting at that children's hospital who were very different from the sad-eyed, wise kids I was reading about in cancer books. My favorite piece of advice about writing is also my favorite piece of advice about living. Robert Frost once said, "The only way out is through." I think it's hugely important to read. I think that reading is one of the ways that we have of getting out of ourselves. I mean, I'm going to look my entire life out of only my eyes. I will never know what it's like to be anyone else. But reading offers me the opportunity to see the world from a different perspective. I have periodically suffered from writer's block, and I wish I had some kind of magical way to get out of it, but what I try to tell myself is what my dad told me whenever I complained about writer's block when I was younger, which is that coal miners don't get to get coal miner's block. My favorite character in The Fault in Our Stars is probably Augustus Waters, because I think the real hero's journey is the journey from strength to weakness.
Enjoying the Spring Book Club collection? Tell us about your great reads and join the debate on Facebook/Richard and Judy Book Club.
From the Richard and Judy book list, I quite fancy the sound and look of The Book of Summers. I think what I like about that, it sounds to me like it reminds me a little bit of a short story that I've read recently called My Polish Teacher's Tie. A lady who's forgotten her forgotten some things from her past. She strikes up a pen pal relationship with somebody, and it sounds a little bit like that, and I kind of like the idea of little snapshots of memories and things from childhood that you've forgotten that come back to you.
I've read The Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey Nafenga from the Richard and Judy book club list. I really enjoyed this book because of the way Audrey describes the relationship between the two characters and the way the romance is built up. It's a great one for anyone who's into romantic books and loves to see how love can endure any problems.
I've read Arthur and George. I really, really love that. It's about Arthur Conan Doyle's relationship with some chap called George, who is an immigrant, and it's all about it's kind of like a real life sort of mystery. You find out lots and lots of things about Conan Doyle's personal life, about his relationship with his wife, and kind of his belief in seances and that kind of thing. And it's just really, really interesting. I'm a big fan of Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories, so it's kind of nice to know those and to read that alongside it.
Still to come on the Book Club audio download.
Along the way, I married a 7th-generation Texan, and I didn't read the fine print, and now I live in Texas. So that is my story.
Noah Hawley brings us the assassination of a presidential candidate.
From the point of view of the alleged killer's dad.
Seconds after the first shot, journalists were scrambling for context, rewinding the tape, analyzing angles and trajectories. Within hours, they had a name, pictures, a young man, bright-eyed and milky-skinned, frowning into the sun.
Another tough topic in The Good Father.
That's next time on the Richard and Judy Book Club, exclusive to WHSmith.
Check out whsmith.co.uk/Richard and Judy. Thanks for listening.